Craven, and I need your thoughts. Like, comment, subscribe, smash that like button, ring that notification bell so that you get all these. And a lot of people did not get my video last week, that are even some of my subscribers. Oh well, it happens, I guess. The video count's way down, but that's all right. So, I want to talk to you today about civil strife. And I want to use some different examples from across the world about resiliency. And that is what you will see that we have tons of as human beings. We don't like change. Change is just something that we don't want to do, okay? Let's take the Suez Canal. There is a freighter that is stuck sideways in the Suez Canal. Everybody's heard about it probably at this point in time. They say $11 billion worth of trade has been disrupted. What they haven't done, because every time they show pictures of it, it's still this same thing, and they're digging out beside it, or clearing sand and whatnot from around the bottom of it. You don't have two container ships on either side offloading cargo to raise the ship. They're not that worried about it. They don't want to upset the normal balance of things. Let's just see if we can dig it out first and then do it. So if they were really worried about it, they'd have brought two empty cargo ships in from either side, offloaded as many of those containers as they possibly could have. That would have floated the ship up. They probably could have already had it out. But they don't want to upset the ship. See my point? Kosovo and that region of Yugoslavia that broke apart because of financial disruption. It fell apart because of the financial disruption. If there hadn't been, here we really don't have any financial yet. Things are difficult, but it hasn't collapsed. If Bitcoin takes a serious nosedive, because you see all these computers out there that are dedicated to doing nothing but mining Bitcoin, and they are producing so much Bitcoin that people are getting rich from the Bitcoin because there's a perceived value. But once they realize that there's more being manufactured on a daily basis that has no value except for computing power, and once that computing power has produced that Bitcoin, it is worthless by itself. Other examples. Okay, people talk about secession. Texas may secede. Texas isn't going to secede. They're not going to produce their own cash. Most of the people in Texas are going to want to remain part of America. You don't have a huge call across the nation to break up. And why don't you have that? Because the Jeff Bezos of this world, the Elon Musks, the Donald Trumps of this world haven't called for it. Until those guys start saying, I'm done. Until those guys start saying the system is corrupt and needs to go away. Until those guys do so. The movers, the shakers, the ones that have the money to produce a following out there large enough to make some kind of movement. There's not going to be. I understand there's issues. There could be situations that come up that drive it that way. But at the Capitol, when you saw fences up and you had National Guard troops around, how many attacks against those National Guard troops? How many probes against the fence were there to try and get in and destroy the Capitol and do a real armed insurrection? None. How many people came to the deal in January armed, ready to overthrow the corrupt regime? None. We're not ready. We're a long way away from it. Life is too good here in the United States that once you boil it all down, we still have options. We still have the choice to make to pull ourselves back from society. It's not that we've been pushed out of society yet. Now, could there be something that fast tracks this? Absolutely. We've seen that in other civil wars around the world throughout time, where a small action created a large following. But at this point, we don't have a rallying cry. There is not that one action that has occurred because the government is corrupt that has pushed this through. H.R. 1 that's gone through the House is sitting in the Senate, supposedly dead on arrival. I hope that it is, because that could be one of those sparks. Not in and of itself, but the fact that it would create basically one-party rule would set up in the next 10, 15 years the same situation we saw in Lebanon, which took Lebanon from being the resort of choice for all the elite in the Mediterranean to a war-torn, civil war, just destroyed country. They hardly function as a country now. And this is 40 years after the Civil War. You don't have that yet. H.R. 1 has not passed. And there's good reason to believe that it never will. And so, yay, they're going to come and get our other tools. Assault weapon ban. Yeah, not so much. In the 80s, this occurred. And back then, a lot of different groups said, this is the final straw, blah, 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 blah. But in the end, there was no action. Why? Because the movers and shakers that would say, enough's enough, they've not taken any action. They've not even hinted at taking action. Now, some people try and say that Donald Trump did back there, blah, blah. I've watched that speech. There is no part in there where he tried to incite an insurrection. He could have. That's how close we really are. But until that happens, we're miles away. Because we have our Xbox, we have our PlayStations, we have our Netflix, we have our YouTube, we have Hulu, we have Disney Plus, we have all these different options to keep our minds busy. Our cell phones, when people see it, they can't even get off of it long enough to drive. Are they going to get off of it long enough to put forth the concerted effort that's going to be required to start a problem? I don't see it. Are those voices out there that have been silenced? Have they been silenced so badly that they're calling for action? Well, they are, but they're not the movers and shakers. Until they make a move, we're just waiting for somebody to make a rallying cry. Now, me personally, I am completely against civil war. There's no part of that anybody wants. Now, we have some major event that, EMP, coronal mass ejection, whatever else, and we fall apart, the economic collapse, and everything falls apart. This I understand. But going headlong into civil war, what's the benefit? From a good economy, not great economy. From a good job market, not a great job market. I mean, yeah, we do have quite a few unemployed. We do have a lot of disgruntled people out there. But they're mostly just going to be talk, not real action. And it's only when action occurs that will further more actions. So you can't take a walk around the world without that first step. And how much more important is the last step than the first step? None at all. Because if the first step hadn't occurred back there, the last step wouldn't happen here. And right now, I think that we are so divided, there's no large enough group to say, this is enough. You need, roughly as history would show, about 15 to 25% of the population during the Civil War, during the Revolutionary War, apparently there was about 33%. A third wanted revolution. That's the Thomas Jeffersons, the Paines, the Adams, all the ones of history that we know of. The Jeffersons, if I didn't mention him. And they wrote articles, the Federalist Papers, other papers that went out. Benjamin Franklin wrote several pages to garner support for what they were doing and why they should do it. It came just short of insurrection early on. We have none of that. We have none of the movers and shakers that are doing that. Okay? So, I think we're a long ways away from it. You had a third of the people that were completely behind the British crown, wanted to stay British subjects. They didn't mind so much about the 1% tax. Yeah, 1% tax that threw everybody else over the top. And we're sitting here at 50-some% tax rate after you figure state and local property taxes, everything else. More than half of my income disappears every year to governmental bodies. But I drive on nice roads. I have electricity that works. And doesn't shut off 2 or 3 times during the day. Almost no brownouts ever occur in the United States. We may have some problems. Those problems are opportunities to correct the direction, not to completely dismantle the system because it's non-functional. We're 2 months, a little over 2 months into the Biden presidency. It appears to me personally that he's under significant cognitive decline. But what happens if he goes away? So his medical records may be leaked here shortly and show, there is a problem. Kamala Harris will have to come out with the secretaries of various departments and do the 25th Amendment. It's amazing how quickly Congress got so much of Joe Biden's staff approved and through the Senate confirmation hearings. With Donald Trump, they still hadn't even hardly started at this point. But with Biden, oh man, they're almost finished. Kind of strange, isn't it? When the 25th Amendment takes those secretaries that pass Senate confirmation to be able to vote on the 25th Amendment. So yeah. So where are we? We are a long way, in my opinion, from any kind of civil war. Civil strife, yes. Will cities burn? Oh yeah, there's going to be some riots here and there. But until there is a concerted, armed riots, where police join the rioters, and we've seen none of that. So, understand, this is not a bad thing. Today, I look outside, I'm looking out through the window, and I see a beautiful spring morning. Now, is it spring for the United States? I'd say it's more like an Indian summer, where it should be falling apart, but everything's pretty good. It should, leaves should have fallen, but it's nice and warm and unseasonably so. It's unseasonably nice in the United States for all the conflict and issues that we do see. And a lot of that could just be because our phones distract us, our lifestyles distract us. When you can have people so stuck on their hobbies, such as soccer or football or whatever else, that they're not interrupting those games to talk politics. We don't have the precursors that history has shown for a civil war. That could change. It could change in a day. But I was at a gun show yesterday, and not one person was standing over in the corner. Listen to me, folks. We need to XYZ. Without concerted action, there won't be that second step. You'll never make it around the world without that first step. And we don't even have that, in my opinion. So, cheer up. It's a beautiful day today. I woke up. I had a heartbeat. Yeah, I had a heartbeat. And life is good. Let's keep it that way. But if it falls apart, be prepared. Doesn't mean I don't have a year's worth of supply of food. Doesn't mean that I don't have a few rounds of brass to be able to throw. Doesn't mean that I don't have my knives sharp. Doesn't mean that I don't have my plate carrier packed. I'm ready. But I don't think the United States is. And that's not a bad thing. So, hey, like, comment, subscribe, smash that thumbs up button. But share this out with people if you would. Because I stopped advertising, and boy, the view count went down, and even some of, like I said before, some of my subscribers didn't even get my videos, so don't know what's going on there. I'm not going to get into any of that stuff, but good morning. I appreciate y'all. Have a good one. Bye.